Here's a bit of trivia for you. We all know the word cushion, right? Cushion? Yeah? Do you know the etymology of that? The Buddha himself, on that last night, the morning after which he manifested enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, set up his own seat under the Bodhi tree made out of kusha grass. So, the most sort of famous cushion, most precious cushion, was that made of the kusha grass. And so now that has become, kusha, cushion. That's how it comes. So I don't know if this happens. Yeah? Okay, sure. Sure. Wow. Like this. So, in general, the seated meditation posture is very, very important, and therefore the seat or the cushion that you use is also very important. So anyway, my understanding is that these Wednesday sessions, there was an emphasis on meditation, right? Okay, good. I prepared my talk in such a way. Although I might be known for logic and debates and whatever else the propaganda is saying about me, I've come out just on Monday. I left the Vajrapani Institute, this retreat center in Boulder Creek. Some of you might have known, our sister center to Ocean of Compassion, where I have been spending the last 6 months trying to meditate with various degrees of success. And so I thought what we could do today is have an emphasis on the learning by doing, rather than getting into a lot of the philosophical, foundational, theoretical stuff, which is good. It has its time and place. But tonight, let's focus on the practice, okay? Yeah, does that sound good? All right. So then, the topic that we decided on, the 4 close placements of mindfulness. So how many of you are familiar with this topic? Yeah? Very nice. So this is a very foundational practice that is found both in the Theravadan tradition as well as in the Mahayana tradition. Those of you, have any of you done a Vipassana retreat, right? So the Satipatthana Sutra, which or Sutta in Pali, is the scriptural basis of this teaching, of this practice. And that particular sutra is in common with all the various flavors of Buddhism that you'll come across in the world. So as Casey pointed out, in the early part of my learning about Dharma, I had the good fortune to train in the Theravadan traditions. And so now the style of practice that we're going to engage in tonight is going to be drawing from that heavily. So the only thing, well, thus far that I'll say that we can talk about in Mahayana, what essentially is the difference is the motivation with which we undertake the practice, right? whereas the majority of Theravadan practitioners, they set as their goal personal liberation from samsara, suffering for themselves. We hear in the, or maybe we is a bit much, but those in the Mahayana tradition typically have as their motivation for undertaking the practice a kind of altruism that extends to all the sentient beings. And we train our minds so that we can fully develop our inner potential, our capacity to the fullest extent, so that we can help others do the same. So we can help others free themselves from the ocean of samsaric suffering and attain the state of liberation and enlightenment as well, right? So a Theravadan practitioner, a Mahayana practitioner, the actual kind of technique of the meditation can be the same, but with those two different motivations that they use to undertake their practice, then the result is going to be completely different. Okay? So now at the beginning of our session, I encourage you to adjust the motivation in that way, thinking that we're here on this occasion to not just bring some peace or benefit for ourselves, but actually the purpose of our life is to benefit all beings. And in order to benefit them in the best way, we need to develop these inner qualities. And so now we're going to participate in the meditation and the small bits of lecture I'll interdisperse with it, so that we can learn about these techniques by which we can purify our minds, develop our inner good qualities, so that we can quickly attain the state of enlightenment, so we can be of utmost benefit for all sentient beings. Okay? Thank you. So now, Satipatthana Sutra, the Four Foundations of Mindfulness. Generally, if you wanted to learn about this, a good way to do it would be to go to a Vipassana retreat. And over 10 days, meditating about 8 to 10 hours a day, you could get a good foundation, right? So 8 hours a day for 10 days, it's, let's do the math, 80 hours. Here tonight, we have 80 minutes. So let's see what we can do, okay? It might be difficult to cover in an extensive way everything, but I at least wanted to give a few steps by which, even after this session, you can hopefully take your practice on to the next couple levels. And then after tonight, you can continue to do this practice. And then by the next time we meet, well, you'll be quite expert on what we've covered tonight. And then we can go for some next steps. Okay? All right. So enough talk. Let us practice. Okay? So let's get into a comfortable meditation position. Yeah? Get nice and comfortable. Now, here, many of you are on chairs, and that is fine. If you can sit on a cushion, that generally is preferred, unless you have some, sort of leg pain or something that precludes you from sitting on a cushion in the more traditional way. either way, the most important thing is to sort of sit up straight, right? So if you are on a chair, it's best not then to use the back of the chair to support yourself, but try to, use your own efforts to support yourself. You can come up a little bit from the back of the chair if that's comfortable and have both your feet flat on the ground. Hmm? Then with your hands, I see some of you, yeah. You see this left hand down, the right hand on top of it. You can put that in your lap. You can put your hands on your knees like this, right? So whatever is going to be comfortable, okay? And most important thing is to, just sit up straight. We are trying to have a sense of relaxation and stillness, but also one of vigilance, awareness. So, in general, when we talk about the four close placements of mindfulness, we have the body, the feelings, the mind, and phenomena. So, we're going to start our practice tonight with the mindfulness of the body. So, now allow your awareness to descend into the body. And become aware of the sensations in the body. I like to ask the question, how do we know that we're sitting? So you might feel the weight of your body on the cushion or the chair beneath you. And then especially at the beginning, it's good to try to become aware of any pockets of tension that we might be holding in the body. So bring your mind's attention to your facial muscles and see. Sometimes we carry some tension, some slight squinting of the eyes. Maybe the cheeks are holding some tension, the facial muscles around the mouth, kind of puckering the lips. Just allow all of those facial muscles to soften and relax. Then let's continue going through the body part by part, just checking in with these various areas of the body, bring our mind's awareness to each part of the body, first just checking in and seeing what is there. So maybe then go down to the shoulders, those trapezius muscles. And then if you do notice some tension there, then just release and relax that tension. And you can think that you're using the out breath as a natural trigger to release the tension. So think that you are breathing into your shoulders, for example, and then as you exhale, you are releasing the breath along with the tension. Then continuing down through the arms. Why don't we do one arm at a time? Starting with the right arm, going down through the upper arm. Just bring your mind's attention there. See if there's any sensations you can notice. And then if there's any tension, release the tension. Continuing down through the elbow joints to the forearm. Do you notice some sensations there? Do you notice any tension? If so, release it without breath. If there's no tension, then fine. You don't have to create tension just so you can notice it. Just be aware of the reality in the present moment. And then finally to the right hand. What sensations do you feel in your right hand? If it's, say, on your knee, try to really sense what part of the skin on your palm and fingers are touching your knee. If your hands are in your lap, try to feel your other hand below the right hand, those points of contact with the two hands touching. Then continuing, go up to the left shoulder. Again, checking in with what sensations might be there. Going down to the upper arm. Maybe you even feel the contact of your skin with the clothes you're wearing. Then going down through your left elbow to your left forearm. What sensations are there right now? Then to the left hand. If, as we try to scan through the body and other thoughts, other appearances come to the mind, then try not to engage with them. Just stay maintaining the awareness in the body. We can continue down through the now through the torso. So maybe the upper chest around the collarbones, going through the chest and the abdomen. Then the upper back, the middle back, and lower back. Down through the seat, so your glutes, really feeling which parts come into contact with the cushion or chair beneath you. And then continuing down through the legs, first the right leg, upper thigh, lower thigh, the knee, down through the calf, just being aware of what's there, the reality of this moment. And finally to the foot. And then similarly through the left leg, upper thigh, lower thigh, knee, calf, foot. Go at your own pace. Just checking in part by part, piece by piece, bringing the awareness, the attention to those various areas of the body. And then lastly, just try to, in one moment, have awareness of the entire body. Maybe some sensations in the realm of your body consciousness will be stronger, and some more subtle. Just try to maintain the awareness of the entire realm of your body consciousness. So gently come out of the meditation. If you need to, change sitting position, do so mindfully. So I'm hoping we'll have 3, maybe 4, just mini meditation uh, doses. And as we relax, I'll say a few things, give a bit of a sprinkle of some of the theory. So, of course, there are so many teachings, so many sutras, commentaries, so many words, right? In general, there are 2 ways of, well, let's take a step back. Why so many words? Why so many teachings? This is what I think. But the very essence is that, well, the first noble truth, the truth of suffering, right? Those of us who are not yet liberated, we have one kind of suffering experience or another. And the second noble truth, that of the truth of the cause of suffering, 4 noble truths, right? First teaching of Buddha. So the second noble truth, the truth of the cause of suffering, well, essentially, the cause of all of our suffering are our mistaken, distorted views of reality, right? There's a very famous quotation, uh, sometimes taught in Tibetan classes, where basically it says that the Buddhas do not wash away our sins with water, nor do they remove our sufferings with their hands, nor do they transfer their realizations to another mind stream. But the Buddhas liberate sentient beings through teaching the reality, right? So we have many different wrong views, distorted ways of thinking. Okay. But the ones that are more problematic for us, usually it's presented the 4 distortions. The things that are actually impermanent in nature, we grasp on to be permanent, right? The things that are actually impure in nature, we consider them to be pure. the things that are actually suffering in nature, we consider them to be true happiness. And the things that are actually selfless, we consider them to have possess a self, you know? So all of the various Buddhist teachings are designed to help remove these wrong views, right? But since different people have different dispositions, some are more philosophical. I might be one of those people. But probably fortunately for the world, everyone's not like me. There'll be other people who are more, intuitive, more people who are practice oriented like this. Okay. So within the Pali language, excuse my bad pronunciation, but there's this word ehipasiko. Yeah? Ehipasiko, you've heard? Huh. Basically, it means see for yourself, see through your own experience. And this practice with the Four Foundations of Mindfulness, well, it is trying to get us to realize impermanence, suffering, selflessness. But rather than giving us all the logical argumentations, right? The logical reasoning, all these kinds of words and treatises, the Buddha would invite the monks. I think one time he was asked, "What are your teachings?" And he would say, "Ehipasiko, come and see. Yeah? Come, join the monastery, join the meditation that we're doing, and see." So now we're trying to realize the truth of impermanence, the truth of suffering, the truth of selflessness in the, as it were, laboratory of our own body and mind, right? So you've all heard the word vipassana, I think, right? Vipassana means insight, right? Now, these four foundations of mindfulness, we can think of, those are the things that we're trying to get insight about, right? Our bodies. We think we're going to live forever, right? Yeah? We certainly act like it. Maybe not our own bodies, but someone else's body. Oh, that one is a real source of pleasure. No, that's actually true suffering. And then the self could be, we don't think that the body is the self per se, but we might think that there is this self independent of our body and mind that somehow owns and controls this body, right? So let's see if that holds up in the internal lab of our investigation. Let's see in our meditation if we can discover those truths. And so this first little meditation we did, technically, so some of you might know the shamatha practice, right? Shamatha, we have shamatha and vipassana, right? Shamatha, or kind of developing single-pointed concentration, we just take an object of meditation and try to hold our awareness on that object without letting it drift off, right? Okay. Now, this is a very necessary prerequisite for the vipassana, right? Later, we're going to analyze that body, right? And check, is it permanent? Is it impermanent? Is it suffering? Is it happiness? Okay. But if that object that we're trying to analyze, if we can't keep that in mind, then our analysis can't go anywhere, right? Just as, well, my best neighbors when I was in retreat are all the lovely birds, right? So similarly, if you want to, investigate a bird, right, and you try to get close and it flies away, your investigation's over, right? So at one very fundamental level, we need to develop this faculty of the mind that's able to, hold and remain on one object to give the analytic mind enough time to do its thing. Okay? So typically, even they call it a Vipassana retreat, the first several days actually is going to be around developing this shamatha, the stable mind that's able to hold an object without letting it, fly away. Okay? All right. That's all I'm going to say for now. The second meditation dose will come. So we start again. Getting into the comfortable meditation posture. Allowing the entire body to become relaxed and at ease. Relaxing more deeply with each out breath. And not trying to control the breath in any way, but allowing it to flow naturally and effortlessly. And now let's continue with our mindfulness of the body. So, again, returning to the tactile sensations in the body. And try, as we did right at the end of the last little mini session, try to observe the entire range of body sensations in one mind. focusing on those tactile sensations in the body. And if you observe closely, you'll see such a variety of tactile sensations. There can be some pulsing. Maybe you'll feel the cool air from the air conditioning on the skin. You'll feel the contact of your skin with your clothes. You'll feel the weight of your body on the cushion beneath you. You might feel some tingling. You might feel some itching sensation, some heat. Maybe there'll be some pain even in the knees or in your back. So, whatever kind of sensations there are, we accept them all. We don't try to change what is there. We just observe. We just bear witness to the reality of this present moment. And then again, as we try to maintain awareness of the body, if there's other appearances that come to the mind, don't engage. There might be different thoughts or memories that come up, but just let them be. And so now that we have gotten some level of connection and stability with the object of the body, we now investigate. And so don't allow your beliefs, what you might have heard in different lectures, to contaminate or influence this investigation, but just as much as possible, rely on the direct experience. And first, we can investigate, well, are all of these tactile sensations, are they permanent? Are they unchanging? Or are they changing moment by moment? Don't use the logical analysis, use the direct experience of what you're feeling. So let's try another investigation, another inquiry. Within this field of sensations, do we find anything that we can point to that is the self? The I. Or is it the self, the I, that is the one who is experiencing these various sensations in the body? Or maybe there's a third option. And a third investigation, a third inquiry. Well, what is this body that we're talking about? Maybe that should have been the first one. We say, oh, yeah, my body has 2 arms, 2 legs, torso. Okay. Well, now we just have this field of various tactile sensations. So, what is the body? Is there some way we can point to that we can say, this is the body? Or is the body just that field of sensations that we're experiencing? Or maybe the body is a projection on that field of sensations? Or maybe the body is something else altogether. Again, try to use your experience. Forget about what you might have read or what you might have heard. Just investigate in the laboratory of your own experience. Okay, so now just release all the investigation and just try to rest in the awareness itself. Just the knowledge that you are aware. Open, spacious. Okay, please come out of the meditation. Yeah, you here still? Maybe you couldn't find it yourself, so it's good. Yeah, that would be 5 days of a meditation retreat. Okay, so good job. But we're still just on the body. So I'm looking at my friend, the clock. Let's do this. I want to leave a little bit of time for questions at the end. So let's continue with the meditation. Yeah. So we start in the usual way, bringing our awareness in the body. Of course, getting into a good meditation position, relaxed in body and mind, releasing the tension in the body, becoming aware of sensations in the body, using each subsequent breath to cultivate a sense of relaxation and ease without letting go of our vigilance. We allow the breath to settle into its natural rhythm, not trying to control or regulate the breath in any way. And then bringing our attention to the whole range of sensations in the body. The tactile sensations, whether it be tingling, heat, cold, throbbing, itching, tightness, tension, whatever is there in the body. And there could be a range of different experiences in different parts of the body. Try to just bring that all to mind. So now we will go on to the second close placement, the second object, that of the feelings. And here in this specific context, when we talk about feelings, we are talking about pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feelings. Yes, it says in the philosophical text that every mind has, technically, these are the one of the five omnipresent mental factors. Means every mind has with it a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feeling. So now, with all these body consciousness, the body, awareness, try to observe that feeling aspect of it. In other words, it being pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And if it is too difficult to do with the entire body all at once, then you can maybe pick one of the tactile sensations in the body that is giving rise to a feeling that you can observe. And typically it's easier when it is a pleasant or unpleasant feeling. Those are typically easier to recognize than a neutral feeling. So maybe you have a pain from sitting, maybe in the back and the legs. Maybe one of your legs has fallen asleep. And try to observe one of these pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feelings. And just as we did with the body, the tactile sensations, we observed as impartial as we could. Not having preference for the pleasant or having some kind of aversion for the unpleasant, but just observing as it is. So, although we are trying to cultivate this sense of being equanimous toward the various feelings of pleasant and unpleasant, at our current state, there probably is some reaction to these feelings. Hmm? When there is an unpleasant feeling, there probably is some resistance to it, a desire that it goes away. So now, just for the next few moments, then try to allow those natural reactions and observe those. Observe the negative reaction of aversion when there is an unpleasant feeling. And let yourself, for a moment, just give in to that desire to make that unpleasant feeling go away. As you do that, is there a change in the experience? In other words, does that unpleasant feeling go away when you have aversion toward it? Does it get stronger? Does it stay the same? What happens when we have that resistance or aversion to the unpleasant feeling? And so, next, let's take a different tactic and instead try to welcome that discomfort, that unpleasant feeling, cultivating a mind thinking that it's okay that it's here. So instead of resistance, cultivate acceptance and then see if there's any change in the experience. See if that unpleasant feeling increases, decreases, stay the same. Again, not looking for the textbook answer, but trying to find the truth of your own reality, of your own experience. And then finally, release all investigation and allow the mind to rest in the pure awareness. Okay. Bring your awareness back to the room. So, maybe we have some questions. Maybe I'll have some answers. But I'll just say this first. Speaking of answers, right? See, some of the questions I had for you in the context of the meditation, maybe there's a right answer. Maybe there's not a right answer, right? Maybe the inquiry, like what do they say? Life is a journey, right? It's not about reaching some kind of destination, but it's the journey, right? So maybe the practice itself isn't to arrive at an answer, but it is to go through the inquiry, you know? So I think it's good to have this kind of practice to complement the all the answers that were given in all these texts, right? Okay. Anyone have a question? Wow. So, the fact that there's no questions, we can't conclude anything from that, right? It could be you guys are all experienced meditation experts, right? And I did all this preparation, made all this stuff, and you're like, I know this stuff already. What is this guy talking about? Right? No questions. Could be. Could be. Could be that well, the instructions were just so unclear that you are so confused you don't even know where to begin. Could be. It also could be you guys are shy. You actually have questions, but you're not wanting to do this. Oh, you're just scratching. I saw someone raise their hand. They're like, oh, you know.
Can you also expound for some of the folks here, especially the two that you didn't talk about? So, especially the phenomenal one.
Oh man. See, I'm a bit reluctant to. Okay, so the question was, can I expound on what I haven't expounded upon yet? Right? I can, but the thing is, the whole reason I couldn't do all four in 80 minutes is because there's no time. So then we have 3 minutes left for questions. It's like, give me the other. No, I'm a little bit joking. I'm a little bit joking. So I love a good challenge, right? Okay. On one level, when we talk about body, feeling, mind, and phenomena, everything that exists fits into one of those four categories. Okay. So the body isn't just our physical body, but it also includes the forms, shapes and colors, sounds, tastes, right? Everything, the objects of the five senses. Okay. The feelings is the pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. The mind then is, well, we have thoughts, right? We have memories. And then we have, let's say, moods, right? Some kind of emotions, maybe anger or attachment, greed, jealousy, these kinds of things in the mind, meant the like that. And then phenomena is everything that exists that is not in those first three categories. Okay? But, huh? I should have just left it at that. Everyone was so impressed. And I did it in 1 minute. Wow, I even impressed myself. But you see, remember, of all the phenomena out there, the ones that we're most concerned about as aspiring, uh, you know, Buddhist practitioners who want liberation and enlightenment are impermanence, suffering, selflessness, emptiness. We talk more about that in the Mahayana. Okay. So that is a bit more tricky. Okay. What we are trying to do in general in this is take the first three, right? And use that as the kind of substrate, right? The basis upon which we investigate the impermanence, selflessness, suffering, da da da. And then we discover, oh, the body is impermanent. The feelings are impermanent. The feelings are suffering. The mind, impermanent. The mind, no self. Like this kind of investigation. The last one, well, is very tricky because on one level, in Tibetan, right, Trempa Nyershak Ji, right? So Trempa means mindfulness. That's how it's translated as mindfulness. And on one level, mindfulness means also it's the same word to remember something. But to remember something, you have to know something, right? I don't remember whatever happened in, someplace I've never been, 2 million years ago, right? I have no knowledge of that. I have no remembrance. So, on one level, for us at the beginning, I'm not going to say we fake it till we make it, but um, the remembrance that we can actually put into practice is when we go through life and there's going to be these false appearances. Oh, this appears to be permanent. This appears to be pleasure or real happiness. This appears to have a self. Is to then apply the mindfulness. Oh, actually, it's impermanent. That's something we can practice in the context of the meditation practice. My hypothesis is it's very hard to do that fourth one until we have the actual realization. So it's mostly the first three, I think, is my hypothesis, are used to gain the realization. And then once we have the realization, we can apply it. Yes.
So I could look at my sensations, classify them as positive, negative, or neutral. But the last part where you said, look at your negative sensations and try to welcome them and make them positive, that was kind of hard. I could observe and kind of neutralize it, but not welcome it. So is there any method to that?
So maybe instead of welcoming, it's to develop this sense that it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, when you say, is there any way to, train in this? I mean, of course, the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, taking a cold shower, right? Right. A lot of people do this. It's become quite fashionable, right? Or the cold plunge,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people just do it so that they build up, I mean, amongst other things, they build up this kind of resiliency
Mm-hmm.
to endure something that's unpleasant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, one way to do it, right? Just on a larger scale, this is found in the Lojong teachings, right? Where we come to view our suffering experiences in a different way, right? And so Shantideva says that, well, suffering actually has some benefits, right? I forget the order, but there are 5 benefits. Suffering, then, it helps us develop wariness towards samsara, right? It helps us to have compassion toward others who are suffering. It helps us reduce our arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
It helps us increase our motivation to do virtuous things. And it also increases our desire to abandon non-virtue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, many practitioners, when they will endure these kind of austere practices, thinking, "Oh, my negative karma is getting burned up," right? So the very famous meditator Geshe Lama Kunchok, who is a friend of Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, very famously, he slipped on some stairs, hit his head, and it said that he experienced bliss because that very moment, through his training, he thought that he was then experiencing the suffering to remove the obstacle to, Koban Monastery or Lama Yeshe, something like this, right? So, yeah. At our state, then before we can welcome something in, right, open arms, we first have to go from, aversion, a very negative, to neutral, right? So that's okay.
Okay, so
You know?
that's good. Just practice will.
Yeah. So this is the thing, and not to say this is the right answer, but one thing you can contemplate, and one thing I was trying to lead you to do, right? When we have that negative sensation, right? I was asking you, if we let that aversion take control, well, does that aversion make the negative sensation go away? No, right? So instead of having just a negative sensation, we also have a negative mind, which is itself unpleasant, and that negative mind doesn't help the negative sensation go away. So we just like this, right? So at the very least, though we can't make that physical sensation that's unpleasant go away, we could then, by training in at least having a kind of lack of mental aversion, we at least get rid of the mental problem, even though we can't face.
So the negative side effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this then, again, not to feed you the answers, I hate doing this, but try then in the time after this lecture and until we meet again to apply these very things in the other aspects of your life, right? You get some kind of sickness, right? Well, same thing. Getting upset that you're sick isn't going to be some magic cure. Then all that happens, you have the sickness and some like mental worry or strain about it, right? Well, many things, right? So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I think the topic of feelings is very fascinating. Um, s- so where do feelings come from? We're talking about feelings, thoughts, and I mean thoughts maybe come from the mind. Where do feelings come from? Do they come from the thoughts or somewhere else?
That's a great question for investigation. So, all right, I'm not going to see you for a while. So I will say a few things. I mentioned, okay, this is the philosophical side, okay? But please continue with your own investigation in the laboratory of your own mind and body. But I mentioned how feeling is one of the omnipresent mental factors. So every consciousness has those feelings along with it. Now, here's what's there in the philosophical text. But any pleasant feeling, where does that come from? That's the ripening of a virtuous karma, right? Yeah. Any unpleasant feeling, where does that come from? That's the ripening of a non-virtuous karma. That's it. And you can see this. This is actually our friend the clock. I'm 10 minutes over. Okay? Not to open up a huge can of philosophical worms, but this very observation is one of the underpinnings of what they call, have you heard of the mind-only school in Buddhism, the Chittamatra school? So they observe this, whatever it might be. Chocolate cake. Yeah, we like chocolate cake? Yes? Yeah? Yeah, oh yeah. So we all might look at the chocolate cake and think, yummy, yummy, right? But I tell you, many of the old school Tibetans, right? They don't like chocolate. Now, many causes and conditions, right? They didn't grow up with chocolates. Probably better for that. You know, there wasn't all these like sugary, Cocoa Puffs. Like that's what our, Cocoa Pebbles, Cocoa Krispies. Oh, wow. They didn't have all that. They weren't conditioned. But then, chocolate cake, whatever, you know? Maybe others, we all like chocolate. Now, what about a nice ribeye steak, right? Some people, oh yeah. We go down to Texas, give me that nice porterhouse steak, right? I used to like a nice steak. Right? Now, ugh. I'm actually feeling a bit nauseous even thinking about it, right? So, if the pleasantness, right, was somehow established from the side of the chocolate cake, side of the steak, whatever, the object, then everyone who experienced that same object would have that same. So the mind-only school then uses this as one of the reasonings. They say, you know what? It's all in the nature of the mind. Now, the other philosophical schools don't take it that far, but the fundamental observation here is, I think, a good one, right? We would then explain it as, differences in people's karma, But of course, there is that the physical side and there's the mental side as well. So I always like to use the example of the sauna, right? In the sauna, hot room, so pleasant, you're sweating, feels great, right? Then, there's a heat wave, right? Last week, oh my gosh. Here is nice AC. Can you imagine? No AC, you're in a room sweating. It'd be torture, it'd be hellish. So that experience of being in a hot room is the same, and same sensations in the body. And the difference is what? So that is why there is this emphasis on the mind in Buddhism. The mind is the creator of all, right? That's from the Dhammapada. So The mind is the creator of all, yes, and in particular, it is the mistaken, distorted minds that are the creator of our suffering. And so that is the whole essence, the whole reason why we need to take care of the mind and take care of those negative states of mind in particular, because we don't want those unpleasant sensations, experiences, and so forth.
You always have an answer. Brilliant.
Well, sometimes even if I don't have an answer, that doesn't stop me from speaking. Maybe that's more accurate. So, maybe we press pause. Yeah? Anything else? Okay, good. So I just then wanted to say, I think some of you have done some similar practices. Actually, the mindfulness of breath that many of you have done, it is a subset of the mindfulness of the body, in case you didn't put two and two together, right? Normally, the mindfulness of the breath, you're looking at the sensations associated with the breathing, which is just then, either the abdomen or the chest expanding or this nostril area, right? It's just one part of the body. So like that, then we can also do it, okay, the forearm, right? Those of you who have done Vipassana in the Goenka tradition, there is this whole like scanning the body, different parts and all that. But even that, although they call that the Vipassana, that is still the shamatha, right? That's still developing the placement, the single pointedness on the body. What you maybe haven't done before are some of that, those questions I was asking, that's the real Vipassana. That's the real analysis and trying to see, is this permanent, impermanent? Is this the self? Is this suffering? Is this pleasure? Whatever, like this. Those questions, that forms the investigation that is the Vipassana. So, with that, you have infinite, almost, amount of investigation you can do. So I wish you all the best of that. Let us just now take a moment to dedicate the merits, the positive energy we've created in our time here today, and that all beings, the vastness of space, quickly be freed of all their suffering and attain the state of liberation and enlightenment as soon as possible. And then in particular, all of the proximate causes of suffering in the world, particularly due to war, natural disasters, environmental degradation, mental and physical illness, economic problems, all of these proximate causes of suffering of body and mind, may these also be instantly pacified, not only in this world, but all the universes of, the 10 directions. And may these things never be experienced again. And then in particular, this mind of bodhicitta that we alluded to, the mind that wishes to achieve enlightenment, grounded in great compassion, extending to all sinning beings. May that mind of bodhicitta arise in our hearts and in the hearts of all sinning beings without any second's delay. And may that bodhicitta that has already been generated, may that increase. Then we also dedicate for the long lives of the spiritual friends, particularly His Holiness the Dalai Lama, May His Holiness remain in the world and continue to offer the greatest benefit to all sentient beings. And then may all of our precious gurus who recently showed the aspect of passing away, particularly Lama Zopa Rinpoche, may all of our these gurus manifest again quickly in the world and continue their activities to benefit sentient beings. And then this Ocean of Compassion Center, all the other centers of the FPMT, may they have all of the required conditions so they can be successful in their activities to benefit sentient beings and the Dharma. And KC, Bay, all the volunteers, all the sponsors, everyone who comes to Ocean of Compassion Center, everyone who tunes in to the Zoom sessions, everyone who has even heard of the center, may they never again be reborn in the lower realms, develop all the realizations on the path, particularly bodhicitta and the realization of emptiness, and attain enlightenment as quickly as possible. Okay. Thank you very much.